Imagine you're walking down a busy street. The sun is shining, people are laughing, and everything seems fine. But inside your mind, there's a weight. It's like a cloud hanging over you, making everything seem harder, even when things are going well. Do you ever feel like this, as if your thoughts are pulling you down, no matter how much you try to shake them off? Have you ever wondered why it feels so difficult to just be at peace? What if the source of that heaviness isn't the world around you, but something inside you? You might not even realize how much negative energy you carry within. It's the constant worry, the harsh self-judgment, the anxiety about things that haven't even happened yet. These negative energies form a barrier between you and true peace, and they shape the way you experience the world. But here's the truth. You don't have to live with that weight. There's a way to clear your mind, to remove these negative energies and make space for something better. We are so often caught in patterns of thinking that we don't stop to question them. But what if we could train ourselves to see those negative thoughts for what they really are, just passing clouds? What if we could choose to let them go and make room for positivity instead? Welcome to Wisdom Woven. In this video, we're going to explore how Buddhism teaches us to identify and release negative energy from our minds so we can experience true peace. But before we dive deeper, let me ask you, are you ready to change the way you think and feel? Are you ready to let go of what's holding you back? There's so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. And please drop your thoughts in the comments. First, comment Namo Buddha to stay energetic, and let's journey together towards a peaceful mind. Now, let's start by understanding what negative energy really is and how it affects our daily lives. The root of suffering. How negative thoughts take hold. The mind is like a vast garden. It is full of seeds. Some are good, nourishing, and kind, while others are harmful, like weeds that grow and choke out everything else. We all have these seeds within us. The negative thoughts, the worries, the anger, the fear. These are like weeds, and if we don't pay attention, they can take root deep in our minds and spread. But how do these weeds start growing in the first place? Where do negative thoughts come from? The Buddha teaches us that suffering arises from desire, attachment, and ignorance. But what does that mean for us in everyday life? Imagine you are carrying around an old bag filled with things you no longer need, old memories, past regrets, and unspoken fears. Every day, you pick it up without even realizing the weight of it. The bag is filled with negativity, but we become so used to carrying it that we hardly notice its heaviness. It becomes a part of us. We think these negative thoughts are just who we are, but in reality, they're just burdens we have picked up along the way. The mind is like a sponge, soaking up everything it encounters. When we are young, we absorb the environment around us, the words we hear, the actions we see, the energy we feel. And if we're surrounded by negativity, whether it's from our family, our friends, or society, we start to internalize that negativity. We begin to believe the world is harsh, that people can't be trusted, and that there's always something to worry about. These beliefs settle into the very core of our being, and they begin to shape the way we view everything around us. In Buddhism, we speak of ignorance, not in the sense of not knowing facts, but in the sense of not truly understanding the nature of our thoughts. We think that the negative thoughts we have are a part of who we are, but they are not. They are simply a result of the mind's conditioned responses to past experiences. When we hold onto these negative thoughts, when we give them power over us, we suffer. We become prisoners to our own minds. Think of it like this. Imagine a child walking through a forest, seeing only the trees. The child doesn't know there is a beautiful meadow just beyond the trees. The child's view is limited by what they can see, and so they think the entire world is made up of these trees. This is how we live when we are caught in negative thinking. We can't see beyond our fears, our doubts, and our anger. We believe these negative thoughts are real, and we live our lives in their shadow. The Buddha calls this attachment. It's the act of holding on to things, whether they are past memories, worries about the future, or the way we see ourselves. When we are attached to these negative thoughts, we can't see anything else. We become so focused on our pain, our hurt, and our fears that we don't leave room for peace. But there's a way to free ourselves from this attachment. The first step is awareness, to recognize that we are holding onto these negative thoughts and that they are not who we truly are. These thoughts are like clouds in the sky, passing and fleeting. They are not permanent. When we begin to see our thoughts as just thoughts, not facts, we can start to let them go. This is where mindfulness comes in. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in each moment, observing our thoughts without judgment. It's like sitting by a river and watching the water flow by. We don't try to stop the water or change its direction. We simply watch it flow. In the same way, when we practice mindfulness, we learn to watch our thoughts without attaching to them. We can notice the negative thoughts, but we don't have to hold on to them. They come and go, just like the water in the river. Imagine you're standing in front of a mirror. You see your reflection, but that reflection is not who you truly are. The reflection changes depending on the light, the angle, and even the expression on your face. The same is true for our thoughts. They are reflections of the mind, not the true self. When we begin to see our thoughts as just reflections, we can stop identifying with them. We can stop thinking that we are the angry, fearful, or sad person our thoughts suggest we are. The more we practice mindfulness, the more we begin to realize that we are not our thoughts. We are the space between the thoughts, the stillness, the peace. In that space, we find freedom. The negative thoughts lose their power over us, and we begin to experience a deep sense of calm and clarity. Buddhism also teaches us about impermanence. Everything in life is always changing, including our thoughts. Just like the weather changes from day to day, our minds shift from one thought to another. No thought is permanent. No emotion lasts forever. When we begin to understand this, we stop getting caught up in the storm of negative thoughts. We can weather the storm with grace, knowing that it will pass. In this moment, take a deep breath. Feel the air filling your lungs and notice the stillness in your body. That stillness is always there, beneath the surface of your thoughts. When we reconnect with that stillness, we find a sense of peace that is always available to us. It is not dependent on what is happening outside. It comes from within. As we begin to let go of the negative thoughts, we create space for positive thoughts to grow. Just like a garden, if we clear away the weeds, we make room for the flowers to bloom. The more we practice mindfulness, the more we cultivate a mind that is calm, clear, and free from negativity. When we free ourselves from the weight of negative thoughts, we begin to experience life differently. We are no longer prisoners of our past, our fears, or our attachments. We can live in the present moment, fully aware, fully alive, and fully free. In the next part, we will explore how to cultivate mindfulness in our daily lives, so we can begin to clear the weeds of negativity and allow the flowers of peace and joy to bloom. But remember, the key to all of this is awareness. By becoming aware of the thoughts that arise in our minds, we can begin to let go of the ones that cause us suffering and make room for the ones that bring us peace. The mirror within, observing the mind without judgment. When we speak about the mind, we often think of it as a place of constant activity. Thoughts rush in like a river, sometimes flowing smoothly, other times crashing violently against the rocks. This stream of thoughts, emotions, and reactions can feel overwhelming. But what if we could stand outside this current and simply observe? Imagine you're standing before a mirror, looking at the reflection of your mind. Can you see the thoughts that appear without being swept away by them? This is what we aim to achieve by observing our mind with awareness and without judgment. In Buddhism, the mind is often compared to a lake. On a peaceful day, the surface of the water is still, clear, and reflective. But when there are disturbances, whether they are thoughts, emotions, or external events, the water becomes murky. The clarity of the lake is lost, and what remains is a surface clouded with ripples. Similarly, when we allow our minds to be disturbed by negative energy, it becomes hard to see things clearly. We are caught in the chaos of our thoughts, rather than observing them with calm detachment. But if we can take a step back and see these thoughts for what they are, just thoughts, we can begin to clear the murkiness and restore peace. The first step in removing negative energy is simply to become aware of it. You cannot remove what you don't see. Often, we are so caught up in the rush of life that we don't notice how much negative energy is infiltrating our minds. It may show up as worry, fear, anger, or self-doubt. These thoughts and emotions are like the clouds that cover the sun. They block our inner peace and make us forget that we can always choose to look beyond them. But if you become mindful of these thoughts, you can create the space needed to see them without judgment. Mindfulness is the practice of observing your thoughts, feelings, and sensations without labeling them as good or bad. It's like watching clouds drift by in the sky. Sometimes the clouds are dark, heavy, and stormy, and sometimes they are light and fluffy. Neither of these clouds define you, they're just passing. In the same way, your thoughts and emotions come and go, but they do not define who you are. When you learn to observe them in this way, you begin to develop a deeper understanding of the mind's natural tendency to fluctuate. This understanding helps you detach from the need to react to every passing thought. But what does it mean to observe the mind without judgment? We are often taught to label our thoughts, to judge them as either positive or negative. This process of labeling creates division in the mind. For example, when a thought arises, let's say it's a thought of anger, you might immediately label it as bad or wrong. This judgment causes you to identify with the anger rather than simply noticing it as a temporary feeling. The same happens when we feel fear or sadness. The more we judge these emotions, the more they become part of our identity. When we observe the mind without judgment, we remove this layer of identification. Instead of saying, "I am angry," we simply observe, "I feel anger." This subtle shift changes everything. It allows you to step back from your emotions and see them as temporary experiences, not as permanent truths about yourself. Over time, this practice of non-judgmental awareness creates a sense of inner peace. You no longer need to fight your thoughts or emotions. Instead, you can allow them to arise and pass away naturally, like the clouds in the sky. Imagine you're sitting by the side of a busy road, watching the cars drive by. Some cars are fast, some are slow, and some stop at the traffic light. But you're not involved in the movement of the cars. You are simply watching them pass. The cars may be loud, or they may be quiet, but you do not try to control them. In the same way, your thoughts and emotions are like the cars on that road. They may come quickly or slowly, but you do not need to jump into the driver's seat. You can simply observe them, knowing that they will pass. By observing without judgment, you free yourself from the need to react to every passing thought. This practice of mindful observation takes time. It requires patience and dedication. But with consistent practice, you will begin to notice a shift in how you relate to your thoughts. Instead of being swept away by them, you will find that you can step back and watch them without getting caught up in the storm. The more you practice this, the clearer your mind becomes, like a lake that is no longer disturbed by ripples. As you continue to observe your mind, you may begin to notice something else. The thoughts that arise are not as permanent as they seem. Just like clouds, they come and go. The more you observe them without judgment, the more you realize that negative thoughts and emotions are not a part of who you are. They are simply passing experiences that do not need to define you. By allowing them to pass without attachment, you create space for more positive, peaceful thoughts to enter your mind. This is the power of mindfulness. It allows you to transform the relationship with your thoughts and emotions. Instead of being controlled by them, you become the observer, the one who chooses how to respond. Over time, this practice strengthens your ability to stay calm and clear, even in the face of negative energy. You no longer have to be ruled by your thoughts or emotions. Instead, you can choose to live with greater awareness, peace, and freedom. By observing your mind in this way, you begin to remove the negative energy that has built up over time. Each time you notice a negative thought or emotion, you give it less power. Instead of letting it consume you, you observe it and allow it to pass. This is the first step in clearing the mental fog and creating space for peace to enter your mind. It may not happen overnight, But with practice, you will begin to see the shift. In Buddhism, this practice of mindfulness is considered a path to freedom. Freedom from the endless cycle of thoughts and emotions that cause suffering. By observing your mind without judgment, you are taking control of your inner world. You are no longer a prisoner to your thoughts. You're the one who chooses what to focus on, what to let go of, and what to invite into your life. In the end, the mirror within reveals your true nature, a nature that is calm, clear, and free from the clouded distortions of negative energy. By observing your mind without judgment, you begin to see that the peace you seek is already within you. It's always been there, waiting for you to notice. Clearing the inner fog, cultivating mental clarity through mindfulness. In our busy lives, we often feel like our minds are clouded, like there's a fog that we can't seem to shake off. We rush from one task to the next, constantly moving but rarely pausing to notice the state of our thoughts. Have you ever noticed how a simple moment of stillness can feel uncomfortable? That's the fog. It's the noise of constant thoughts, worries, and distractions. The more we focus on the noise, the thicker the fog becomes. It's a vicious cycle. But what if, instead of adding more thoughts to the chaos, we learn to clear the fog? What if we could create space between our thoughts, so we could experience life with more clarity, peace, and presence? The good news is we can. In Buddhism, this practice is called mindfulness. Mindfulness isn't just about focusing on the present moment. It's about becoming aware of your thoughts and letting them pass without holding on to them. It's like watching clouds float by in the sky. The clouds don't stay. They come and go. The same is true for our thoughts. But too often we get caught up in them. We grab hold of each thought, believing it's who we are. We become angry at a thought, fearful of it. We're obsessed with it. And the more we react, the more we add to the fog. In mindfulness, the key is to watch your thoughts without judgment. Imagine sitting quietly, noticing your thoughts come and go like waves in the ocean. Some waves are big, some are small, but none of them stay. They rise, peak, and then dissolve back into the ocean. In the same way, our thoughts come and go. Some are loud, some are quiet, but none of them define us. They're just thoughts. The beauty of mindfulness is that it gives us the ability to detach from the noise in our minds. We don't need to follow every thought down a rabbit hole. We don't need to believe every fear or every worry. When we practice mindfulness, we begin to understand that we are not our thoughts. We're the space in which our thoughts arise. And this space is always calm, clear, and still. Imagine a lake. If you throw a stone into it, ripples will spread across the surface. But if you leave the lake undisturbed, the water will settle, and the surface will become clear again. Our minds are the same way. When we let go of our need to control or react to every thought, the mental ripples settle, and we can see clearly. Now, it's important to understand that mindfulness doesn't mean suppressing or ignoring our thoughts. It means acknowledging them without attachment. We may feel anger rise in our chest, but instead of becoming angry at our anger, we simply notice it. Ah, there's anger, we say, and just like that, it begins to lose its grip on us. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. The darkness doesn't fight the light, it simply fades away. This practice of observing our thoughts without getting lost in them is the key to clearing the fog in our minds. And it's something that anyone can do. You don't need to be a monk, and you don't need to meditate for hours. You just need to take small moments throughout your day to pause and observe. You could be washing the dishes, walking in the park, or even sitting at your desk. In each of these moments, you have the opportunity to practice mindfulness. Start by noticing your breath. Is it shallow and fast, or deep and calm? Simply observe without trying to change it. Just noticing the breath can bring you into the present moment. And when you're present, you're no longer lost in the fog of your thoughts. You're clear, and you can see things as they truly are. Another helpful practice is to bring your attention to your senses. What do you hear right now? What do you feel? What do you see? These questions help pull you away from your mental distractions and bring you back to the here and now. You don't need to go anywhere special or find a perfect moment. The present moment is always here, waiting for you to notice it. One of the greatest gifts of mindfulness is that it helps us cultivate patience. We stop trying to fix our thoughts, our emotions, or our circumstances. Instead, we learn to sit with them, observe them, and allow them to be. Just like clouds in the sky, thoughts and feelings will pass. We don't need to force them to leave. They will naturally fade away when we stop giving them our energy. This doesn't mean that the fog will disappear overnight. It takes time, patience, and practice. But with each moment of mindfulness, you are clearing the fog bit by bit. And as the fog lifts, you begin to experience life more vividly, more fully. You see the beauty in the simple things, the way the light dances on the water, the sound of birds singing in the trees, the warmth of the sun on your skin. These are the moments that make life truly rich. Mindfulness is a powerful tool for transforming our relationship with our minds. It doesn't change the world around us, but it changes how we experience it. When we clear the fog, we stop reacting to every little thing. We become more resilient, more calm, and more peaceful. And the more we practice, the clearer the mind becomes, until we can see the world as it is, without the filter of our fears, judgments, and anxieties. If you're feeling overwhelmed by negative thoughts or emotions, mindfulness is the way to start clearing the fog. It's simple but powerful. It doesn't require special training or advanced techniques. All you need to do is begin, right here, right now. Notice your breath. Notice the world around you. And just for a moment, let go of the noise in your mind. With each breath, you are clearing the fog. With each moment of mindfulness, you are finding your way back to clarity, peace, and presence. Letting go, the art of releasing mental clutter. In life, our minds can become cluttered with thoughts and feelings that no longer serve us. We carry past hurts, regrets, and worries into each new moment. It's as though we have a room inside us filled with boxes, each one containing memories, negative thoughts, or old emotional baggage. This clutter doesn't just sit quietly in the background. It interferes with the way we live, the way we feel, and the way we relate to others. It can cause us stress, anxiety, and even illness. But here's the good news. We can choose to clear out that clutter. We can release the old energy and make room for peace, joy, and clarity. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting or pretending that painful experiences never happened. It means acknowledging them, feeling the emotions they stir up, and then choosing to move forward. It's like carrying a heavy bag all day long, even when you don't need it anymore. The moment you set the bag down, you realize how much lighter you feel. You don't need to carry all of that weight, not anymore. In Buddhism, there's a powerful concept called detachment. It's not about rejecting the world or people around you. It's about learning not to hold on to things that cause you pain. In fact, attachment is often the root of our suffering. We become so attached to our thoughts, our possessions, or even our identities that we forget we have the ability to let them go. Letting go is about understanding that nothing in life is permanent. Everything is constantly changing. The more tightly we hold on to things, the more we suffer. When we learn to let go, we also learn to forgive, not just others, but ourselves. Many of us carry around feelings of guilt or regret, believing that we have failed in some way or that we aren't good enough. These feelings can hold us back from fully living, and yet we often keep them because we think they define us. But in reality, they only tie us down. Forgiveness isn't about saying that what happened was okay. It's about freeing yourself from the weight of those feelings. By forgiving, you release the grip of negative energy that has been holding you hostage. Sometimes, letting go means stopping the cycle of overthinking. How many times have you found yourself replaying a conversation, worrying about something that hasn't even happened, or imagining every possible worst-case scenario? This kind of mental clutter wastes energy and keeps us stuck in the past or the future, never fully present. The Buddha taught that the mind is like a monkey, always jumping from one thought to the next, never sitting still. The more we chase after these thoughts, the more agitated and unsettled we become. But if we can learn to be present and let go of the need to control every thought, we can find peace. Imagine this. You're standing at the edge of a calm lake. The water is still and the air is clear. You take a deep breath and slowly begin to let go of everything that weighs on you. You release the stress, the worries, the guilt, and the fears. One by one, you let them go, just like you'd release stones into the water. As each one sinks, you feel lighter. The lake of your mind becomes calm, and you feel a sense of relief you didn't even know you needed. The truth is, letting go doesn't always happen overnight. It takes practice and patience. It's like cleaning your house. You don't do it all at once. You start with one corner, one drawer, and slowly work through the rest. The same is true for the mind. With each step, you begin to clear away the clutter, and with time, it becomes easier. The more you practice letting go, the more natural it becomes. Buddhism teaches that attachment is the cause of suffering, and that letting go is the path to freedom. Freedom doesn't mean that life is perfect or that we won't experience difficult moments. It means that we're no longer trapped by our own thoughts and emotions. We are free to respond to life with an open heart and a clear mind. We are free to live in the present moment, without the weight of past mistakes or future anxieties. But how do we begin this process of letting go? It starts with awareness. The first step is simply recognizing the mental clutter we are holding on to. What are you carrying? What thoughts or feelings are weighing you down? Are there past hurts that you haven't fully let go of? Are there fears or anxieties that keep you from moving forward? Once we become aware of what we're holding on to, we can begin to make a conscious choice to release it. Next, it's important to understand that letting go is a gentle process. It doesn't happen through force or willpower. It happens through compassion and kindness toward ourselves. Be patient with yourself as you begin to release old patterns. Letting go isn't about pushing away your emotions, but about accepting them without letting them control you. It's about saying, I acknowledge this pain, but I choose not to carry it any longer. One of the most powerful practices in Buddhism is meditation. Through meditation, we learn to quiet the mind and observe our thoughts without attachment. We learn to let them come and go without getting caught up in them. It's a practice of mindfulness, where we become fully aware of each moment and allow ourselves to experience life as it is, without clinging to anything. As we meditate, we start to notice how much mental clutter we've been carrying and how easy it is to let go when we simply let things be. Another key to letting go is learning to trust the process of life. Many of us hold on to things because we fear the unknown. We fear change, and so we cling to what feels familiar, even if it's causing us pain. But life is constantly changing, and there's a natural flow to it. When we trust this flow, we can let go of the need to control everything. We can surrender to the present moment, knowing that everything we need will come to us when the time is right. In the end, letting go is not a one-time event, but a continuous process. It's about learning to release what no longer serves you, so that you can make room for what truly matters. It's about living with an open heart, free from the burdens of the past and the fears of the future. And as you begin to let go, you'll notice something remarkable. The world around you will start to feel lighter too. Your relationships, your work, and your overall sense of well-being will begin to shift. This is the power of letting go, a power that frees you to live your life with peace, clarity, and joy. So, take a deep breath. Begin right now. Look inside and ask yourself, what can I let go of today? The power of compassion, transforming inner toxicity. When we talk about compassion, we often think of being kind to others, but the true power of compassion starts within ourselves. We often spend so much time and energy judging ourselves, criticizing our mistakes, and feeding into the negative thoughts that consume us. These thoughts create a kind of toxic energy in the mind, a mental fog that stops us from feeling peaceful or even happy. But when we introduce compassion into the picture, something extraordinary happens. Imagine how you would treat a friend who is struggling, someone you deeply care for. You would offer them kindness, understanding, and a listening ear. But when it comes to ourselves, how often do we show the same kindness? More often than not, we are our own harshest critics. We tell ourselves that we aren't good enough, that we are failures, or that we don't deserve happiness. This negativity adds to the mental clutter, weighing us down with self-doubt and fear. But what if we started to treat ourselves with the same compassion we give others? Buddhism teaches that compassion begins with understanding. When we acknowledge our own struggles and the reasons behind our suffering, we can begin to soften our thoughts and feelings. Compassion doesn't mean allowing ourselves to stay in a negative place or not holding ourselves accountable. It means embracing our imperfections with love and kindness. It's about acknowledging that everyone, including ourselves, has moments of weakness, but that doesn't define who we are. The simple act of pausing and breathing when we feel overwhelmed, instead of immediately reacting with self-criticism, can start to shift the energy within us. We can ask ourselves, why am I feeling this way? What am I really afraid of? And instead of being harsh, we can gently say to ourselves, it's okay. You're doing the best you can, and that's enough. This doesn't mean ignoring our flaws or pretending that everything is perfect. Compassion is not about denying our difficulties, but about accepting them with kindness. It's about recognizing that we are human, and we are allowed to feel pain, disappointment, or frustration. But just because we feel those things doesn't mean we have to let them control us. Every time we offer ourselves compassion, we start to unravel the negative energy that is built up over time. Compassion softens the sharp edges of anger, fear, and anxiety. It helps us see beyond the mistakes and failures we've experienced, allowing us to focus on the lessons we've learned. Instead of carrying the weight of guilt or shame, we can walk forward with the knowledge that we are learning, growing, and evolving. Take a moment and reflect on a time when you were kind to yourself. Perhaps it was a moment when you forgave yourself for something you thought you could never forgive. Maybe it was a time when you acknowledged your own pain and allowed yourself to heal. How did it feel? The power of compassion is transformative because it allows us to let go of the mental blocks that keep us stuck. The more we practice self-compassion, the more we start to experience compassion for others as well. Our understanding deepens. We begin to see that everyone is fighting their own battles, just like we are. Compassion allows us to view the world with softer eyes, to understand that suffering is a part of life for everyone, and that kindness is the way forward. When we are compassionate toward ourselves, we free ourselves from the toxic energy of judgment. We stop blaming ourselves for everything that goes wrong, and instead, we embrace the idea that life is a journey, a path of growth, not perfection. We learn to let go of the need for control, the need to be perfect, and the need to constantly strive for more. With compassion, we shift our perspective on everything. We start to see challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities to grow. When life becomes hard, instead of getting caught in a spiral of negativity, we can simply pause, offer ourselves compassion, and trust that we are capable of overcoming the challenges in front of us. This is where the true power of compassion lies. It frees us from the grip of negative energy, allowing us to embrace life's ups and downs with grace and peace. We learn that we don't have to carry the weight of the world on our shoulders, and that it's okay to be imperfect. We are all in this together, and kindness is the thread that connects us. Start with yourself. Practice being gentle with your thoughts. When you catch yourself in a cycle of self-criticism, pause, breathe, and gently remind yourself that you are worthy of compassion. Know that every act of kindness toward yourself is a step toward freeing your mind from the heavy burden of negativity. When you begin to practice self-compassion, you will notice a shift in the way you approach life. The toxic energy that once clouded your mind will start to fade. The fog of judgment will clear, and in its place, you will find clarity, peace, and a deep sense of inner calm. And this is the beginning of true healing, one compassionate thought at a time. As we continue on this journey of removing negative energy from a mind, remember that compassion is not just a practice, but a way of life. It's a way to transform your inner world, and in turn, transform your outer world. It's not something we do occasionally, but something we cultivate every day, in every moment. So, from this moment on, choose to be your own friend. Choose to be kind, gentle, and understanding. Let go of the harshness, the judgment, and the toxic thoughts. Replace them with compassion, and watch as your mind begins to clear, your energy shifts, and your life transforms. Silence as a healer, finding peace in stillness. Sometimes the world feels loud, doesn't it? The noise of thoughts, the constant hum of the outside world, and the endless chatter of people and events make it hard to hear our own inner voice. We get so caught up in the whirlwind of daily life that we forget one of the simplest and most powerful tools we have for healing: silence. Imagine, just for a moment, a place of complete stillness. No voices, no distractions, just quiet. A calm and peaceful silence that doesn't demand anything from you. It's in this silence that we can truly begin to heal, not by doing anything, but by simply being. In Buddhism, silence is often regarded as a form of inner peace. It's not the absence of sound that brings us peace. It's the presence of stillness in the mind. We are so used to the noise of the world, the constant pressure to act and react, that we forget how powerful silence can be in its own right. But if we look closely, we'll see that the mind is often louder than the world around us. It's filled with thoughts, judgments, fears, and worries. When was the last time you took a moment to simply sit in silence, without the urge to fill the space with thoughts or distractions? In silence, we allow ourselves to reconnect with our true nature. It's in this space that we can observe our thoughts without judgment. We don't need to react to them or try to change them. Just by sitting in silence, we can watch them come and go like clouds drifting across the sky. And when we do this, we realize that we are not our thoughts. They're just passing phenomena. This realization is incredibly freeing because it allows us to separate from the constant chatter of the mind. When we experience silence, we also experience a deep sense of presence. We are not lost in the past or the future, but simply here in the moment. This presence is the key to peace. The more we practice being present, the more we can cultivate stillness within. And the more stillness we cultivate, the less power negative energy has over us. Think about a time when you were overwhelmed by negative thoughts. Maybe it was stress, anger, or fear that consumed you. In those moments, did you ever try to simply stop and breathe? Did you ever try to listen to the silence around you, instead of being caught up in the storm of your thoughts? It's amazing how, when we stop and breathe, the world doesn't collapse. The noise doesn't stop, but we find ourselves more able to remain calm amidst it all. Silence gives us the strength to withstand the challenges of life without being crushed by them. This isn't about escaping the world. It's about finding the strength to be in the world without being overwhelmed by it. Silence allows us to find that balance. It's like sitting in a storm and feeling the wind, but not being swept away by it. You can hear the thunder, but you are grounded in the stillness inside. Many of us are afraid of silence. It can be uncomfortable at first because it forces us to face ourselves without the distractions we usually use to numb our minds. But silence isn't something to fear. It's something to embrace. The more we practice sitting in silence, the more we realize that it's not an emptiness, it's a fullness. It's the space where healing happens. It's the quiet mind that brings peace, not the noisy one. In the Buddhist tradition, silence is seen as a form of meditation. When we meditate, we let go of everything that is unnecessary. We release the burdens we carry, the expectations, and the worries. And in doing so, we reconnect with our true selves, free from the distractions of the world. This isn't something we achieve through effort. It's something we uncover by simply being still and allowing ourselves to listen deeply. If you're new to the practice of silence, it can feel challenging. The mind may resist, filled with thoughts that demand attention. But that's okay. The goal isn't to stop your thoughts. The goal is to observe them without attachment. With time and patience, you'll find that the thoughts become less intense, less frequent, and less consuming. The more you practice silence, the more you realize that you have the power to create space between yourself and your thoughts. Silence doesn't mean doing nothing. It's a deep, active presence that allows us to engage with life in a way that isn't clouded by negative energy. It's in the stillness that we can hear the wisdom of our hearts and the world around us. It's in the quiet that we can find the answers to the questions we've been carrying for so long. So, how do we bring silence into our daily lives? It starts with small moments of stillness. You don't need hours of meditation to experience the benefits of silence. It could be as simple as taking a few deep breaths when you feel overwhelmed. It could be sitting quietly for a few minutes before you start a day. It could be taking a walk without any distractions, just observing the world around you in silence. The more you invite silence into your life, the more you'll begin to feel the healing power it offers. The more you practice, the more you'll find that the noise in your mind begins to quiet down. And as it does, you'll start to feel a deep sense of peace that isn't dependent on what's happening around you. It's a peace that comes from within, a peace that doesn't fade when the world gets loud. In Buddhism, silence is not just a technique, it's a way of being. It's about being present with yourself, with your thoughts, and with the world around you. It's about finding peace in the midst of chaos. And when you learn to embrace silence, you discover that peace is always available to you, no matter what's going on in your life. The next time you feel overwhelmed or weighed down by negative energy, remember that silence is always there, ready to heal. You don't have to do anything to find it. You simply need to stop, breathe, and listen. In that moment, you'll find the peace you've been searching for. Guarding the gates, protecting your mind from negativity. As a Zen master, I often observe how people struggle with their thoughts. The mind is like a garden, full of seeds, some of peace and joy, others of anger and fear. But the mind isn't just a passive container. It is also a gatekeeper. It decides what enters and what leaves. Most people don't realize that they have the power to guard their minds, to protect them from the negative forces that constantly try to take root within. The first thing we must understand is that negativity does not come from outside us. It arises from within, from our reactions to the world around us. You see, when we encounter something unpleasant, be it a harsh word, a stressful situation, or even a troubling memory, our immediate reaction is often negative. We feel anger, frustration, or fear. And these emotions can quickly take control of our minds, just as weeds can overtake a garden if not tended to. Imagine if you could stop that reaction in its tracks. What if, instead of letting negative thoughts flood your mind, you could simply notice them without reacting? What if you could recognize them as temporary and fleeting, like clouds drifting by in the sky? This is the first step in guarding your mind. It's not about fighting negativity or trying to push it away. It's about noticing it without attaching yourself to it. To do this, you must develop mindfulness, the ability to observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment. When a negative thought arises, instead of letting it control you, pause for a moment and simply observe it. Ask yourself, is this thought true? Is it helpful? Is it necessary? In doing so, you create space between yourself and the thought, and this space allows you to make a conscious choice about how to respond. In Buddhism, we talk a lot about the concept of right effort. Right effort means putting energy into cultivating positive thoughts and letting go of the negative ones. But the effort is not about forcing yourself to think only good thoughts. Rather, it's about cultivating awareness so that you can spot the negative thoughts before they take root. It's about becoming aware of the stories you tell yourself and the patterns that you fall into. You can't guard your mind from negativity if you don't first recognize what's entering it. It's also important to remember that guarding your mind doesn't mean isolating yourself from the world. You don't have to withdraw from life in order to protect your peace. The goal is not to shut out the outside world, but to learn how to navigate it without allowing it to overwhelm you. Think of yourself as a gardener who tends to the plants in their care, but who also knows that some weeds will appear. The key is not to get upset when they do. The key is to notice them and remove them before they can spread. This is where the practice of meditation becomes crucial. Meditation trains the mind to stay focused and calm, even in the midst of chaos. Through regular meditation, you learn to notice negative thoughts before they can take root. You also develop a sense of inner strength, which allows you to remain undisturbed by the negativity around you. This inner strength is like a shield, protecting you from a mental and emotional harm that negative energy can cause. But it's not just about the mind. The body plays an important role in guarding the mind too. In many Buddhist practices, there's a focus on physical posture and breath. When you are mindful of your body, when you sit with a straight back, breathe deeply, and relax your shoulders, you send a signal to your mind that you are in control. Your body and mind are connected, and by taking care of one, you help take care of the other. One simple but powerful practice is to pause throughout the day and take a few deep breaths. Close your eyes, if possible, and just focus on your breath for a few moments. Inhale slowly and deeply, hold for a moment, and then exhale gently. As you do this, imagine that you are releasing any tension or negative energy from your body. With each breath, you create more space for peace and calm to settle in. This practice is an act of guarding your mind, a small but meaningful step toward protecting yourself from negativity. Another way to guard your mind is by being mindful of the people and environments you expose yourself to. Just as a gardener chooses where to plant their seeds, you can choose where to direct your attention. Pay attention to the conversations you engage in, the media you consume, and the company you keep. If you find that certain people or situations consistently bring negative energy into your life, consider setting boundaries. Protect your peace by choosing to spend time with those who uplift you, and by avoiding environments that drain your energy. This may sound simple, but in practice, it requires consistent effort. Negative energy is all around us, constantly trying to enter our minds and disrupt our peace. But you have the power to guard the gates of your mind. It's not about avoiding all negativity. It's about learning how to let it pass by without allowing it to take root. In Buddhism, we speak of detachment, but this doesn't mean detaching from the world or from our emotions. It means detaching from the need to hold on to every thought and feeling. You don't have to identify with every emotion that arises. When anger or fear appear, you don't have to make them your truth. By practicing detachment, you allow yourself to experience emotions without being overwhelmed by them. You see them as passing waves, not permanent states. The key to guarding your mind is to develop a deep awareness of what is happening within you and around you. With awareness comes choice, and with choice comes freedom. You're not a victim of your thoughts. You are the guardian of your own mind. And just like any good guardian, it is your responsibility to protect it from harm. By cultivating mindfulness, practicing meditation, setting boundaries, and detaching from the negative, you build a strong defense against the forces that seek to disturb your peace. The more you guard your mind, the easier it becomes to live in a state of inner calm, regardless of what's happening in the outside world. You begin to live with the understanding that peace doesn't come from external circumstances. It comes from within. As you continue on this journey, remember that protecting your mind is not a one-time task. It's an ongoing practice. The weeds will always try to grow, but with patience, awareness, and care, you can tend to your mental garden and keep it free of negativity. And in doing so, you will find a peace that no external force can take away. The noble perspective, wisdom that dissolves anger and fear. Imagine for a moment that you're standing in front of a raging storm. The winds are howling, the rain is pouring down, and everything around you seems chaotic and out of control. In that moment, it feels like there is no escape. Anger and fear can feel just like that storm, powerful, overwhelming, and all-consuming. You may have experienced this yourself, times when anger flares up or fear grips you, and it feels like there's nothing you can do to calm the storm inside. But what if I told you that you have the ability to turn that storm into a gentle breeze? In Buddhism, we are taught that wisdom is not something distant or theoretical, but something we can apply directly to our lives. The wisdom of the Buddha offers us a way to see through the clouds of anger and fear, so that we can live with peace in our hearts, no matter what happens around us. This wisdom is simple but profound, and it has the power to dissolve even the most intense negative emotions. Anger and fear often arise from our attachments to things, our desires, our expectations, our need for control. When we don't get what we want, or when things don't go as planned, anger emerges. When we feel threatened or uncertain about the future, fear takes hold. But the problem isn't the situation itself, it's the way we react to it. We believe that we must hold on tightly to what we want or fear what we don't understand. But in doing so, we create suffering. The first step in overcoming anger and fear is to recognize that they are not permanent states. They come and go, just like the weather. When you feel anger rising, remind yourself that it is not who you are. It is just a wave passing through your mind and body. The same goes for fear. Fear may seem powerful, but it is only a feeling, a temporary reaction to a perceived threat. It does not define you. To truly dissolve these emotions, we must cultivate a sense of detachment. This doesn't mean we stop caring about the world around us or the people in our lives. It means we stop allowing our happiness to depend on things beyond our control. We stop allowing external circumstances to dictate our internal state. This is where the Buddhist teachings on non-attachment come in. Non-attachment doesn't mean indifference or coldness. It means freedom. Freedom from the need to control every outcome. Freedom from the constant pressure to make things turn out a certain way. When we let go of attachment, we are no longer slaves to anger or fear. Let's take an example. Imagine a situation where someone says something unkind to you. Your immediate reaction might be anger. Perhaps they've insulted you, hurt your feelings, or made you feel small. This anger may arise naturally, but you have a choice. You can either hold on to that anger and let it grow, or you can let it go. By practicing mindfulness, you can observe the anger without attaching to it. You can recognize that this anger is a fleeting emotion, one that will pass if you don't feed it. The more you practice this, the less power anger will have over you. Now, let's consider fear. Fear often arises from the unknown. We fear what might happen in the future, what could go wrong, or what others might think of us. But fear is built on stories we tell ourselves, stories that are often based on assumptions or projections, rather than reality. When you fear something, ask yourself, is this fear based on facts, or is it a product of my imagination? Most of the time, you'll find that the things you fear never actually happen, and even if they do, you are stronger and more capable than you think. Fear loses its power when we face it with courage and clarity. Buddhism teaches us to cultivate a noble perspective, one that sees the world not through the lens of fear or anger, but through the lens of wisdom and compassion. When you see the world with wisdom, you understand that everything is interconnected. You see that everyone, including yourself, is struggling with their own fears, desires, and attachments. You begin to feel compassion for others, even those who may hurt or anger you. Compassion allows you to let go of resentment, to forgive, and to see the humanity in everyone you meet. When you shift your perspective in this way, you create a space for peace. You no longer react to the world with anger or fear. Instead, you respond with wisdom and compassion. This doesn't mean you become passive or indifferent. It means you act from a place of inner strength and clarity. You act with a calm and open heart, free from the weight of negative emotions. One of the key teachings of Buddhism is the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness helps you stay present, to notice when anger or fear arises, and to choose not to be controlled by them. When you practice mindfulness, you become aware of your thoughts and emotions without judgment. You observe them as they come and go, without becoming attached to them. This simple practice can transform your life. It allows you to break free from the cycle of reactive thinking that keeps you trapped in anger and fear. To truly embody the noble perspective, you must also cultivate gratitude. When you focus on what you are grateful for, it becomes much harder for fear and anger to take hold. Gratitude shifts your attention from what is lacking to what is abundant. It reminds you of the beauty in your life, the love you have, and the opportunities that lie ahead. Gratitude opens the door to joy, and when you feel joy, there is no room for fear or anger. In the end, wisdom is the key that unlocks the door to a peaceful mind. It allows you to see through the illusions of fear and anger, and to respond to life with a sense of calm and clarity. It teaches you to let go of attachments and to trust in the impermanence of all things. With wisdom, you can transform even the most difficult situations into opportunities for growth and healing. The storm will pass, and in its place, you will find a sense of peace that comes from within. The more you practice this perspective, the more you will see that you are not defined by your emotions. You are the observer, the one who can choose how to respond. You are not a slave to anger or fear. You are free to live with compassion, wisdom, and peace. This is the true power of the noble perspective, a power that could dissolve even the most stubborn negative emotions and allow you to experience life as it truly is, full of potential, full of love, and full of peace. When you begin to live with this perspective, you will find that your mind becomes clearer, your heart becomes lighter, and your relationships become more peaceful. You will no longer be trapped in the cycle of anger and fear. Instead, you will move through life with a sense of ease, grounded in wisdom and compassion. And as you continue on this path, you will discover that true peace doesn't come from the world around you. It comes from within, flowing like water, embracing change with grace. In life, everything changes. This is the natural law. If you look closely, you'll see that nothing stays the same for long. The seasons shift, the leaves fall, the flowers bloom, and even our thoughts change from one moment to the next. Yet, as human beings, we often resist change. We hold on tightly to the way things are, the way we want them to be, and this resistance can create negative energy within our minds. Think about a river. A river moves constantly. Sometimes it flows gently, and at other times it rushes quickly. Yet, no matter how fast or slow it moves, it never resists the flow of water. It simply goes where it's meant to go. Where a river encounters an obstacle, it doesn't fight against it. It flows around it, over it, or under it. The river's nature is to flow, to move, to adapt to whatever is before it. It's a simple, peaceful process. Now, think about yourself. How do you react when life changes unexpectedly? Do you resist? Do you fight against the current of events, hoping things will stay the same? Or do you embrace the change, flowing like water, letting life unfold naturally without struggle? Resistance to change brings tension and anxiety. We want things to stay the same because it feels safer. But in doing so, we block the natural flow of life. The Buddha taught that suffering arises when we cling to things, when we hold on too tightly to what we think should be. But the truth is, everything changes whether we want it to or not. If we cling to a moment, a feeling, or an experience, we miss the next moment that's waiting for us. We lose the opportunity to grow, to learn, and to experience life more fully. Change is not something to fear. It's something to embrace. It's through change that we grow, evolve, and become more aware of who we really are. The Buddha taught that life is impermanent. The sooner we accept this, the more peace we will find. When we accept impermanence, we begin to see life as a flow, a continuous, unbroken stream of experiences that come and go, and we learn to flow with it rather than against it. Let's take a moment to reflect. Can you recall a time in your life when change felt difficult? Perhaps you lost a job, ended a relationship, or faced an unexpected challenge. At first, it probably felt uncomfortable, maybe even painful. But looking back, can you see how that change led you to something new? Perhaps it brought new opportunities, new lessons, or a new perspective. Even though it was hard at the time, that change played a role in shaping the person you are today. The key to embracing change is understanding that it's not about controlling what happens in life. It's about how we respond to what happens. When we accept change as a natural part of life, we stop fighting against it. Instead, we learn to move with it, just like the river. We allow ourselves to flow, to adapt, and to grow with each new experience. Sometimes, change feels overwhelming. It might seem like everything is falling apart, and we wonder if we'll ever feel grounded again. But even in those moments of uncertainty, remember that you are like the river. You can flow through the changes, adapting and moving forward, no matter how strong the current. You don't need to have everything figured out in advance. Just like the river doesn't know exactly what lies ahead, you don't need to know everything. You just need to trust the flow of life. In Buddhism, there's a concept called Wu Wei, which is often translated as effortless action. It's the idea of going with the flow, of acting in harmony with the world around you rather than struggling against it. When you flow with life, you stop forcing things to happen, and instead, you allow them to unfold naturally. This doesn't mean you do nothing. It means you act with purpose, but without attachment to the outcome. You let go of the need to control everything and trust that, in time, everything will work out as it's meant to. When you embrace change, you begin to see life as an unfolding journey, not a series of obstacles to overcome. Every moment, every experience is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to move closer to your true self. Even in moments of difficulty, change brings with it the possibility of transformation. Every challenge is a chance to learn how to flow more gracefully through life. One of the greatest teachings in Buddhism is the idea of non-attachment. This doesn't mean that we stop caring about things or people, but means we stop holding on to them so tightly that we create suffering for ourselves. When we are attached to the way things were, or the way we think they should be, we block ourselves from experiencing the beauty of the present moment. Life is constantly changing, and when we accept this truth, we begin to find peace in the flow. So, how can you embrace change in your own life? Start by letting go of the need to control everything. Stop fighting against what you can't change. Instead, try to see change as an opportunity for growth, for learning, and for deepening your understanding of yourself and the world around you. When you learn to flow like water, you will find that life becomes easier, more peaceful, and more fulfilling. Remember, just like the river, you can adapt to whatever comes your way. You don't have to resist life's changes. You don't have to fight against the current. Instead, you can embrace it, trust in it, and allow it to guide you where you need to go. The river does not struggle, and neither should you. Flow with life. Embrace the changes, knowing that they are leading you to a deeper, more peaceful state of being. The more you flow with the changes, the more you will find yourself at ease, at peace, and in harmony with the world around you. Life is like a river. Don't fight the current. Let it carry you forward. Sit quietly. Breathe. Be here, in this moment. You have walked with me through many teachings. From the first step, where you learn to see the invisible weight inside your mind, to now, where the clouds begin to part. You've seen how negative energy grows in silence, how it hides in thoughts, in emotions, and habits. You've also seen how, little by little, with gentle awareness, you can remove it. Not by force, not by struggle, but by deep understanding, by seeing clearly, and by letting go. Now, I ask you one last time, just sit and listen, not only with your ears, but with your whole heart. Imagine you're sitting beside a calm lake. The water is still. It reflects the sky, the trees, and even your own face. There is no wind, no noise, just stillness. That lake is your mind. Once it is free from all the noise and pain, it can reflect the world clearly. It can rest, and it can also shine. You do not have to fight negative energy anymore. That is not the way. Instead, you walk around it. You observe it. You understand where it comes from. And slowly, it becomes smaller, weaker. Eventually, it passes. Like clouds in the sky, like waves in the ocean. They come and they go. For years, maybe even decades, you've carried thoughts that hurt you. Thoughts like, I'm not enough, or people always hurt me, or I don't deserve peace. These thoughts were never yours to begin with. Someone gave them to you. Maybe life gave them to you. Maybe pain gave them to you. But now you can give them back. You don't need them anymore. They are not the truth. The truth is simple. You were born pure. Your heart was clear. Your mind was open. The light was always there. Even if the windows were dirty, the sun outside never stopped shining. You just had to clean the window. And you did. You've practiced mindfulness. You've learned silence. You've listened to wisdom. You've become more aware. You've taken small steps every day. And those steps have brought you here, to a place where you can breathe again. where you can smile for no reason, where you can rest without fear. Do not wait for the world to become perfect. It never will, but your mind can become peaceful. Your heart can become soft again. Your spirit can feel light. That is enough. That is everything. Even now, some negative thoughts may come. That's okay. Let them come. But do not serve them tea. Do not invite them to stay. Just notice them and gently let them go, like fallen leaves floating down the river. You don't have to chase them. You don't have to hold them. Let them go. When your mind is clean, you will begin to see things differently. You will not react with anger, but respond with understanding. You will not hold grudges, but offer compassion. You will not fear the future, but trust the present. This is what it means to live free from negative energy. It does not mean that nothing bad ever happens. It means that nothing bad controls you. It means that you hold the power now, not your thoughts, not your past, not your pain. Each morning, when you open your eyes, remind yourself, I choose peace today. Each evening, before you sleep, tell yourself, I let go of all I cannot control. And in between, live simply. Breathe deeply. Walk slowly. Speak kindly. Rest when you need to. That is the way. Now, take one long breath. Let it fill you. Let it remind you. You are alive. You are here. And you are ready. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are returning home to yourself. This is the light within. It is not far. It is not outside. It is in your breath. It is in your silence. It is in your stillness. The teachings of the Buddha were never about becoming someone else. They were always about becoming more yourself. Calm, clear, compassionate, awake. You have that inside you. You always did. Let this be the beginning of a new way of living. Not heavy with doubt, not dark with fear, but light, light as a feather, light as the morning sun, light as the truth you now remember. And as this journey closes, remember, the practice never ends. You can return to these teachings anytime. You can sit again, breathe again, begin again. Thank you for walking this path with me. It has been an honor to share this time with you. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. And please drop your thoughts in the comments. First, comment Namo Buddha to stay energetic and mindful. Your presence here matters. Your energy matters. Now go forward. Carry peace in your heart. And whenever life feels heavy again, come back. I'll be here, in the silence, in the stillness, in the light.